This is one of the biggest lies I ever told to get myself out of trouble. So back in high school, I used to run on the cross country team, but by no means was I competitive or athletic at all. I was honestly just there for the social aspect of it. All throughout my freshman year of high school, I would literally run to Cold Stone Creamery to get ice cream and bring it back to everyone on my bus. I don't know if that tells you what kind of athlete I was, but yeah. Somehow I still didn't get caught for doing this stuff, and by later in high school, my friends and I decided to pretty much never go. I mean, we would show up to practice, but we would wait until everyone was ahead of us and then turn the opposite direction and sprint to Starbucks. We literally did this almost every single day. And then we would call cute boys from other schools to come meet us over there. We would literally get coffee with them, go shopping, and then once we saw the team getting close again, we would just run back to school and pretend like we did the workout. Until one day, I was called down to the principals. They said it had to do with my cross-country attendance. Follow, share, and I'll tell you what happened next.
Extremely toxic best friend story time. So when I was in 8th grade, there was this boy. And this boy would go around telling almost every girl that he liked her. And I was one of those girls. And he would do stuff with all of us. And there were like 11 of us. So we all hated each other. Especially this one girl, and we're gonna call her Abby. And every time we saw each other, we would be super mean to each other. Well, a year passed, we stopped talking to this kid. And I bumped into her at homecoming and basically apologized. So after that, we became best friends. And everything was good until every time I told her about a guy, she would start talking to them. Like this one boy that I was Snapchatting and talking to, she accidentally sent nudes to him and said, "Oh, sorry, I meant to send them to my boyfriend." So then she called one of my other best friends and said, "No, it actually wasn't an accident." And of course he told me because he was my best friend. So I was like, whatever, and stopped talking to the boy. And she did it again, like for part 2. Story time about how I got caught skipping school almost every day of my senior year. So our school had just started this new thing where you fill out all your contact information online. And my dad was like, okay, yeah, just fill yours out. And it pretty much was who can pick you up, who can make early dismissals for you, who they can call if you're in trouble. Well, I decided to be a sneaky little bastard and put my boyfriend in for every single one of those contacts. I would start school around 7:30 a.m. and I would go to the nurse's office at like 9 a.m. and she would call and my boyfriend would act like my dad and be like, okay, yeah, just let her drive home. Well, my guidance counselor noticed after about 3 months of me never being at school. So she called the number hoping to speak to my dad. But instead she got my boyfriend. And he just thought it was a random person, so he didn't act like my dad. Because neither of us knew. Like for part 2.
Okay, so this is one of the most insane catfishing stories that I've ever told. About a year ago, I became friends with a girl. We'll call her Mary. Mary and I hit it off really well. We instantly vibed and became best friends. She always talked about this guy that she was dating named Justin, and they sounded like they had a pretty good relationship. One day, she told me that Justin actually had a really good friend who was good looking and kind of wanted to meet me. So of course, I was excited and I told her to give him my number. I got both his number and a Snapchat, and dang, he was cute. We messaged all of the time, literally for 3 weeks straight, nonstop. I was dying to meet him in person, but anytime we had plans, something always came up or he had some sort of excuse. I found out that he was snapping some other girls, so I just thought maybe he wasn't that into me. But when he talked to me, he acted like he really wanted to be my boyfriend. Not too long before we were supposed to meet though, he told me he had feelings for my friend Mary, which hurt a lot. I had a group message with him, Justin, and Mary on it. That's when I noticed a pattern. Y'all are not ready for what happened next. Follow and share and I'll do a part 2.
Just found out I leaked my own nudes. Story time. So about a month ago, my manager came over and she took me to the side and she was like, I don't want to alarm you, but I've dealt with it. There was a man threatening to leak indecent images of you if you don't send him more. Huh? She said, yeah. He has pictures of your jubblies. Excuse me, I have the chest of a 12-year-old boy. There is nothing to capture. It's just bone. I don't take pictures of that. Ever. Like, I'd understand if I had double D's, but baby, I've got minus A's. So I said, thank you for dealing with a cheeky bit of blackmail in my business email, but he's lying. Let's move forward. So I forgot about it. And then today, I'm uploading a YouTube video, and I haven't checked my channel in ages. What do I see when I check it? Ads limited due to nudity on one of my vlogs. Which vlog is it, you might ask?
I'll vlog getting my nips pierced.
I need to take a class on how to blur correctly. My itty bitty titty committee is on the internet. If you're about to check, please subscribe. And also, I'm sorry in advance. If yours are small, it might make you feel better.
So when I was getting ready for school one day, I picked up some lotion and was going to put it on my face. It looked a little weird, but I figured my mom bought me some new lotion. So when I got to school, everyone was staring at me, but I didn't know why. I see my friend Zion and I asked him, yo, why is everyone staring at me? It might be because of your face. I ain't never seen your face that smooth. My face is smooth? What the heck is he talking about? So I went to the bathroom to see what he was talking about. Woo, my face is smooth. It must be that new lotion. So I went back outside smiling because my face is smooth. All of a sudden, Brayden comes up to me and smacks a piece of paper on my face. Oh, everyone, Desmond's wearing makeup. I didn't know it was makeup. I didn't know. I thought it was lotion. What more do you want from me? Stop it. All right, now you stop it. I just want my mommy. I was so embarrassed that I skipped school for a whole week. I just stayed home watching my favorite TV shows and movies on this free app. The link to the app is in my bio.
So this is probably my favorite story about my cheating ex. As many stories as I have on him, this one happened after we were broken up. He had left me for a girl that he was seeing on the side, and we hadn't spoken in months. We had both blocked each other on pretty much everything. But as most girls do, I do have my fake Instagram account, and he seemed pretty happy in his new relationship. I believed that until I got a DM from a girl. She sent me screenshots of messages and fake accounts that he had made to communicate to her. So he had literally been cheating on the girl that he was with now with her the whole time. I literally don't understand people sometimes. Both him and I were in the same friend group, mostly because we pretty much grew up together. So I talked to another member of the group about what we should do. Now, I believe in karma and that people get what they deserve, but who's to say that I'm not karma? So we decided to show up to his house with not only the girl he was cheating with, but all the girls he cheated on me with. And take care of this, I kid you not, game show style. Follow, share, interact, and I'll do a part 2.
I wasn't gonna do my makeup, but my skin kind of looks like shit, so let's do makeup in a story time. When I was 16, I started dating this 23-year-old guy. I normally dated older guys, and my parents knew about him and weren't concerned, so I wasn't really concerned about the whole predator thing. Eventually, I moved into his house with him, and everything was great. I was so happy. A little while later, I come home one day, and I see a note on our door. The note read, "This is not your house. Get your stuff and leave today." I didn't know what to do, so I called my boyfriend immediately. I noticed there was an old man who was the neighbor, just kind of staring at me as I'm standing on the porch on the phone with my boyfriend. Turns out he was the one who left the note on our door. He started walking towards me and I instantly got scared. This is the time when he realized that I had no idea what was going on. And when he started explaining it to me, I had no idea what to believe. What he said to me truly caught me by surprise. Come back for part 2. Part 2. The man came over to me and basically explained that this wasn't my boyfriend's house. When I had first moved in, my boyfriend told me that it was his house that his aunt and uncle let him live in, that it was technically theirs, but they had no use for it, so they were letting him fix it up and live in it. What this neighbor told me was so different. Turns out it wasn't my boyfriend's aunt and uncle's house that he was fixing up for them. Turns out it was an older couple's house who'd been moved to a nursing facility, so they didn't live there anymore and no one was there to take care of the house, which is why it looked so run down. My boyfriend knew this and found a way to get in and convinced me that it was his house. Turns out we were squatters. If you don't know what a squatter is, basically it's just someone who lives in your house. Someone who's like homeless and just kind of like lives under your porch or in your attic or something. Someone who lives in a house that they don't actually own. Come back for part 3, there's even more. Part 3. So basically at this point we end up grabbing all of our stuff and we move into my parents' house. One night my friends invited me to a party and my boyfriend decided to stay at my parents' house and I went out to this party. Well, eventually at some point during the party the cops end up getting called. So I call my boyfriend to come and pick me up because I'm drunk. And a girl answers the phone. And little did I know, this man had a whole secret family behind my back. He had a whole child with a girl that he had been on and off with for probably about 4 years at this point. And while I was at this party, he was with her and their son. So at this point, I call my friend to come and pick me up from the party and take me home. I recruit my friends to help me when I get home to kick him out of the house. It wasn't a big deal to me that he had a kid. It was a big deal to me that he was still with the baby mom and didn't tell me. Come back for part 4, it gets even crazier.
It was on Valentine's Day. Okay. Very romantic. And I was in the toilet paper aisle because I did have diarrhea. What a dream to have diarrhea on Valentine's Day. Mwah. And all of a sudden, this has never happened to me before, I fainted. So when I black in, there are 2 people standing over me, an old lady and a very attractive gentleman. And the old lady's like blocking him and she's like, "You're okay. Everything's okay." And I'm like, "Bitch, no, I'm not okay. You're standing between me and my future husband." So finally she moves and it turns out that the young hottie is the EMT. And he's like touching my head and he's asking me all these questions. He's like, "What's your name? Do you know what day it is? Where do you live?" And I'm like, okay, wow, he is obsessed with me. He's like, "When's the last time you ate?" I'm like, oh my God, he is about to ask me out to dinner on Valentine's Day. His next question was, "Are you on any medications?" And I was like, okay, yes, I'm on birth control, but I'm not that easy. That is a second date question. We get to the hospital. He rolls me up next to this person who's definitely on drugs. And I turn around to see where he went and he's gone. Here's the moral of the story. Men are pigs and they will string you along and they will break your heart on Valentine's.
So this is the story about a time I dated a sociopath. I went to a friend of mine's birthday party and met this guy. He was really cute, we made great conversation, and he also had a job at a really well-known store. However, I was flirting with his friend a lot more, which I think actually is what attracted him to me. With each bar we went to, he kept trying to get closer and closer to me, and by the end of the night, he asked for my number. I said sure, and a few days later, he called me and asked me out on a date. We decided to go for a hike, and this is where the weird interactions start. He brought up the fact that I'm going into counseling, and that's what attracted him to me because he feels like no one can figure him out. He talked about how sales is the best job for him because he can always temporarily put on masks for people and be whatever a person wants him to be. But it only lasts for so long. He could never keep a relationship for more than 3 months. He said he couldn't keep up the act of what the other girls wanted him to be. Not long after this, I got a call from his cousin who I'd never spoken to before telling me to get out. Follow, share, and I'll do a part 2. We're starting off spooky season early with this dating horror story. So when I was 19, I went out on a date with this guy that I met on Tinder. I swear all scary dating stories start out with Tinder. We'll call him Sam. So Sam and I decided to get coffee and we hit it off pretty well. But we did make the connection that he lived about 6 blocks from me. Keep this in mind. We decided to continue and do a second date. Things got a lot weirder. During this, he asked me several questions about a girl that we'll call Mandy Smith. She was my best friend. I was entirely creeped out about how he knew a lot about her and her last name. This set off my spidey senses, so I just acted like I didn't know her. We dated for about 3 months, and he overcrossed some boundaries when it came to personal privacy a few times, but nothing was really too bad. That was until the day that my friend Mandy went missing. Sam and I were together when it came on the news. I was upset and crying over my friend, and he just looked at me and was like, "I thought you didn't know her." I said I lied because I thought it was suspicious. And he literally started yelling at me over this, and it turned into a full-out argument. My parents and I then decided to do some research. Share and add me on Instagram for part 2.
Okay guys, this is a new series where I record myself taking my makeup off and tell you a story behind it. So when I was 16, I worked at Sonic, my first job, I was chilling. And then one night, this guy said the restroom door was locked and he needed help getting in. And so me, being dumb, I was like, you know what, sure, I'll go there with you, I'll unlock it. And the restrooms at Sonic are outside in the back of the building. And so we go behind the corner, and then he pulls out a gun and starts robbing me at gunpoint, because I had cash in the Sonic apron from, working. And, I started freaking out, so I took the whole apron off to give to him. But then I realized that my car keys were still in there. And I was like, oh my goodness, I have a whole keychain collection. And so I looked at this man who was holding a gun in my face, and I said, "Can I have my car keys though?" And he just stared at me. And I don't know what possessed my 16-year-old self to do that, but he let me have them back.
Let's talk about the time I had some fun with high school bullies. I was in about 10th or 11th grade, and trust me, I do not look as good as I do now. Ooh! Anyways, 4 guys texted me out of nowhere. They were telling me I was cute, but then they were telling me I was ugly because I was trans, and then they kept just, dogging me and all that fun jazz. I kept asking who are they, and they would not give me their identities. So I played their game. They started getting a little flirty while they bullied me. So I flirted back. I guess I was really good at flirting because I got 4 out of 4 dick pics. So I sent their dick pics to each other. They were freaking out. I just sat back and watched everything unravel. They started telling me who they were. They kept telling me which one started it. They kept telling me, please don't show anyone these dick pics. But they were like, but can we still like kind of flirt though? You're really hot. And well, it was an eventful school year. Let's just say that.
Okay. Hi. So today I'm going to tell a story about this weekend. Oh god. This weekend. Well, at least Saturday. Sunday was good, but Saturday, oh god. So Saturday night I got invited to a party by my best friend Yesel. You guys probably know her on TikTok. So this party was in Brickell, right? Which is 45 minutes from my house. So it's about 11:30 at night, and I get driven to Brickell at 11:30 at night. Literally 5 minutes away from the hotel, I get a text from Yesel, that rhymed, telling me to not go. And of course I was like, what do you mean not go? I'm 5 minutes away from you. So apparently, the host of the party called the police on herself. Literally because she lost her purse and she found it 5 minutes later. Everyone realizes that the police is coming, so everyone just dips. And I just got here. I was also supposed to stay the night. So guess what? We were homeless. Nowhere to go. The way we got home was an adventure.